Hello everyone, Burb here. Just like to talk about the late surgers in the Sagittarius Cup today. This is part 3 of the Sagittarius guide. So without further ado, let's begin. If you haven't watched it yet, the overview in part 1, it will give you a lot of good information to use as a foundation for today's topic. But if you've already watched that or just want to continue, here we go. So late surgers, are they good? I'm a little bit biased because I am quote unquote a late surger main. I enjoy watching them, I enjoy building them a lot, but I do believe that they are very good. They have a very good chance of winning. Maybe not as good as end closers, however, because of the shorter spurt length in this track compared to something like Gemini Cup, end closers are not as oppressive as they were before. In addition, late surgers do have the most number of acceleration options available to them. Like I said, they do not have straightaway spurt, so they don't have a guaranteed acceleration option, but if you stack a bunch of them, usually you'll be able to proc one at a decent timing. And if you don't, well, unlucky. Welcome to late surging. In addition, their parent inherit options, just like both gamblers, are incredibly easy. You have Dober, you have Ryan. Those are really the two that you need. You can pick one, you can pick both. We'll talk about that in a bit. They have an incredibly low stamina requirement. They have a high spurt speed being a backliner, and they have access, and this is really their advantage over end closers, is they have access to some of the best mid and late race speed skills in the game. They are incredibly easy to build because most times, and this kind of goes down to the bottom here because they don't have any innate recoveries, usually their skills are those mid-race or late-race speed skills, so they're usually built into the characters and makes them incredibly easy to build. And of course, late surgers, because they are gamblers, they always have a chance of winning. Just as a reminder, from the first video, your thresholds generally you want to go for 1150 plus speed, 901 stamina because of the stamina guts thresholds this CM, and a balance of power and wit. Okay, there's a few exceptions to that with Oguri Christmas. We'll get to that at the end. Your late surger inherents, as a reminder from the first video, your mains are going to be Measure of Dober and Measure Orion. Measure Orion and Dober, our alts have the same effect, it's just their trigger conditions. Ryan's ultimate happens in 6th, Dober's in 5th or 6th, but you also cannot be rushed as well. Okay? For the minors, you can pretty much put any other minors on them. They are not as good as most of the skills available to them due to, of course, the 180 point base cost on most inherited ultimates. However, pretty much any late race speed skill is going to be very good. So we're talking Shadow Break, we're talking Behold Thine Emperor's Divine Might, Triumphant Pulse, Cut and Drive. You can also use Flashy Landing as sort of a pass protect build, just like how I talked about in the Pace Chaser guide. Even Certain Victory can work because of the back end closer focused CM. There's going to be a lot of end closers, and positioning for late surgers is going to be forward more than normal. Let me get some water, just a moment. All right, so acceleration skills. Like I said, they have the most number of acceleration skills. They have both Ignite Spirit Power and Guts, as well as On Your Left and Nimble Navigator. There is a dead zone on these. That is the reason why people prefer straightaway spurt, of course, but as a late surge, you don't have access to it. They are still very good skills. Pump Some Iron, Moving Past and Beyond. The two Measure ultimates that you are going to inherit, if you get them on your character, they can just exist on their own. However, I do suggest picking either one or both of these, as well as a Nimble Navigator or On Your Left, just so that you don't get screwed by position, and just so that you don't only get screwed by timing or condition. Of course, as I said in the Pace Chaser video, it's good to have a mixture of position-based triggers, timing-based triggers, and condition-based triggers. So a good example of something you could do is you could get both of these Measure Orion ones and a On Your Left, or a Slick Surge, right? You could get this plus a Nimble Navigator, something like that. Fighter is technically an acceleration skill, and it has a very weird interaction this CM because of the existence of Umastan. This is from my room match tests. A lot of times it kind of works as a very, very budget option for Umastan. Do I think you should pick it up? No. But if it's there and you have skill points remaining and there's nothing really good, Fighter is kind of a really funny skill because it does have a very small chance that if you just happen to have a passing target right on the perfect acceleration line, it just gives you a ridiculous amount of lengths, which is pretty much equivalent to a full Nimble Navigator proc. But again, the conditions rarely happen. Most times what's going to do is you're going to have a gold ship pass you, pace down itself, and it's going to trigger your fighter, which essentially works as kind of a 50% Uma stand as well. So it's only like 70, depending on what character you have, it's only like 70 skill points after you get a couple hints in it. So a lot of times it's just kind of there as your little last skill to get with your last 50 points, but it is purely gamble. It is basically Technician from Tokai Teo in the Pace Chasers. It can happen at pretty much any time, and most times it's garbage. Okay, so let's pump some iron, moving past and beyond, and get those. That's pretty much what it is. Notably, you don't need like every single one of these. If you have, let's say, like 6 of them available to you, pick 2 or 3 and use your rest of your points on mid-race skills. Over accelerating is not very useful in my opinion. I think you only need to hit 1 or 2. You'll get a ton of consistency, but then you'll find you're going to lose your mid-race a lot and you won't be in 6th position to proc any of them. So use those skill points on mid-race skills when you can. Okay? Uma Stand. Uma Stand is the first time we're talking about this skill in any of these guides pretty much because the Pace Chasers will have, and the front runners in general will have trouble procking Uma Stand because there's not going to be many Pace Chasers or front runners. It requires you to pretty much be surrounded. If Uma Stand happens at the start of a race, it is a pace break in the position keep, which gives you a ton of lengths right at the start, as you can see here on the left. But in general, it is still just a decent skill because it is a very long race, and at some point you will proc it probably. So Uma Stand, a very good skill if you pick it up. There's a couple cards you can use if you have the required speed and stamina cards to hit your thresholds. Very good skill, absolutely not required. I do not think it's like Gemini, where Uma Stand was practically required to pretty much fight against all the gold ships that had it. Like I said before, Fighter is kind of a weird budget option. As you can see, it's basically an Uma Stand at the start that procs half the time, right? It's half the time at half the effectiveness, but it's, again, only like 70 skill points rather than Uma Stand being like 160. Okay. Next thing you need, late race speed skills. The reason why, just like I mentioned in the Pace Chaser video, that I prefer personally late race speed skills are 2 reasons. One, you need to keep up and fight with end closers in the late race, and so a lot of times the late surgers are going to win by hopefully wit maxing their mid race skill. Your mid race wit rolls will carry you through the mid game to get 6th place, hopefully, and once you hit it, your late race speed skills would mean that a 6th place acceleration skill will just carry you into your late race speed skills, and you'll be able to keep the advantage. Instead of procking absolutely everything on mid-race skills, having it sometimes proc in the position keep and you getting paced down, so like that happens about 20 to 30% of the time, these late race speed skills will always give you position. Okay. Notably, home stretch haste, I leave off of this one because it does have the ability to proc in the very end of the race where it's not as useful. Also notably, these ultimates here are very expensive, so a lot of times you want to use your skill points in the most efficient way and choose the cheapest skills that are on the list. So a lot of these skills, our ticket to win is just kind of there for the memes because it's pretty hard to proc, but a lot of these skills are going to be 180 skill points, and it's going to be better to pick a mid-race skill over them. On the other hand, Inside Scoop and Outer Swell are both very good skills in general, and they are kind of worth picking up pretty much like before any mid-race skill, honestly. The next thing you need, mid-race skills, pick as many as possible, get double circle straights, double circle corners, and Burning Spirit Speed, again, is a very, very expensive skill, so perhaps not that one. And the advantage for late surgers for mid-race and having access to these very good mid-race skills is you have 1.5 mil CC and Fast and Furious Position Pilfer as well. A lot of this is Fast and Furious is usually innate in a lot of late surgers in general. Otherwise, you do have the standard straightaway adept beeline burst, Professor of Curvature, it's on, and then a couple of gambly skill, which is playtimes over and slipstream. These technically can happen in the Excel zone after the speed carryover zone, so they sometimes are not as effective. They are still very good to pick because they are pretty cheap. One I'm missing, I am noticing, is Tail Held High is also pretty good. As I was stating before, a lot of skills are just a little too expensive, so a lot of luxury skills. If you have absolutely nothing else, you can gamble with fighter or hard worker. You can pick corner connoisseur. It technically can work. I don't know why you would want it. It gives like a quarter of a length. Who cares? And also, there is the argument that because of the dead zones on the late surgery accelerations, getting the white ones and getting more mid-race skills and more late-race skills may be more effective. So I would probably, if you have sufficient number of late race and mid race skills, so let's say you have Pro Curve plus Fast and Furious, then I would probably get the NSM on your left at that point. But if you're unable to get corners and straights even, and you're on single circle of those trying to hit these yellows, I'd probably go for the corners and straights over trying to get on your left and no stopping me, because they have that dead zone that happens about 30% of the time where you get absolutely nothing from them. Okay? So we're going to talk about some cards. You want to run the strongest cards as always, and especially now, because the reason being that the good cards just happen to also have incredible skills. So your Kittison Black has Pro Curve, long straights, long corners, straightaway adept, and corner recovery. Those are all good skills. Super Creek has Swinging Maestro, deep breaths, firm conditions, home stretch haste, ramp up. And of course, Rice Shower has 2 gold recoveries and firm conditions. Just need some water. One sec. And so running the good cards, there's no reasonable reason to weaken your deck at all, because the good cards have the skills that you want, and you're usually going to have enough in a long CM just from these cards, let alone random ones you get from blue explosions. So you're never going to have a situation where you need to spend more points, honestly. Your golds also have one. The only real changes to the deck from other rolls is Ice and Flash is just a very, very good card. I would probably run both of these over Sweep Tosho, simply because just from my test, this helps you a lot with the power requirement, and Ice and Flash late surge straights and corners with the blue explosions really help you with allocating those skill points. Notably, as well, Matakane Fukikaru has right-handed 777 and long late surger corners, so very good as well. Only problem with these two at the bottom, King Halo and Matakane, are they don't have any race bonus, which you should go for 35% race bonus as per usual. And late surgers have access to a card that's very good for this, which is Nice Nature. So the specific cards for late surgers that are very good that sort of weaken your deck, but not terribly so, are in speed. You have Zeno Rob Roy. It is like the 4th or 5th best speed card behind Kittison, Biko, and Sweep Tosho SSR and Bakushin. So it is slightly worse. The problem with it, there's no race bonus on it, so it has the same problem, but again, we'll talk about Nice Nature in a bit. It does have Lion Weight, which is your innate gold recovery, because that's normally what the late surgers have problems with, is finding their innate gold recoveries. Nakayama Festa and King Halo are there pretty much only for Umastan. The thing is that King Halo just happens to be like the 2nd best power generation card in the game. And Nakayama Festa is slightly behind Super Creek as well. It's about 15% behind. And again, that's not too much of a sacrifice if you're borrowing the card anyways. Okay, the big one, and I think the one you should 100% borrow if you are able to, and you have Kittison and you have Super Creek or Rice Shower, one of those two, and you have Rico, of course, is Nice Nature Wit. And the reason is that on your left is Scold Slick Surge. It's very good, and it has Ramp Up as well, but the big thing is it has 15% race bonus, and what that does is when you have 15% race bonus, you can run these two cards, King Halo and Matakane, because you'll hit 35% just from running, let's say, Nice Nature Wit plus Kittison, Rico, and 2 10%ers, or a 10%er and a 5%er with the 0%ers here. So these not having any race bonus is mitigated by the fact Nice Nature has 15%. Okay, you can always get Slick Surge from Measure Dober Wit card SR. Not the SSR, the SR version. It's not that great of a card because it does not have any wit recovery, but other than that, it actually has pretty decent wit generation. So it is an option if you absolutely need Slick Surge, but honestly, like a lot of these late surgers, Nice Nature is just your friend 100%, and you're going to be seeing this card a lot in Make a New Track too. So if you don't own it, I would borrow it if you have these at least one of these two and Kidison Black. So let's talk about characters. I think the number one overall strongest character, you can argue it's going to be Christmas Oguri, is probably going to be Measure Orion, and the reasoning is that Let's Pump Some Iron, as per normal, your inherited options are about a third of the strength of the actual, so Let's Pump Some Iron will last for 4 seconds instead of 2.4, and it'll also be twice as strong. The only problem with Measure Orion, which makes her difficult to build, is that you don't really have access to a good... it's a hard freaking career, let's be honest. The character, because Pump Some Iron's in 6th place, a lot of times doesn't proc in the early races, so you really have to watch your speed in order to be able to complete the goal races without losing too many stats. In addition, Slick Surge is built into the kit, but it requires a triple crown win, which I think happens probably once every freaking 5 times. It's kind of an annoying character to build, but because of the existence of Nice Nature Wit, you technically do not need to complete the event, and it makes things a whole lot easier. And it does have Rising Dragon, which is the very good late race skill. It is very expensive at 360 skill points. And the only other thing is the 10% wit bonus and the 20% power bonus means that you generally want to run a Super Creek deck with 3 speed and Nice Nature Wit. Doing that, I found, is pretty much with just balanced... what are they called? Sparks. Balanced sparks. You generally hit 1200 901 pretty easily on the character. Okay? So very strong. Probably the strongest acceleration with Let's Pump Some Iron. You just put Dober alt on her, and then from there, like, honestly, the character kind of runs itself. There is a character I think is stronger. I think she is just very, very, very hard to build. Okay? Measure Dober. It's the other one. Reason I think this character is stronger is Moving Past and Beyond will happen more often than Pump Some Iron. And it's better to have the one that's going to proc more often on your character. In addition, having the 20% wit, 10% speed is honestly just incredibly comfy because you just really don't care where the early uppies, as I call them, the little up arrows on the things for the Unity trainings. You really don't care where they go in junior year because you want your stamina up early because you can always come back with this 2010 with wit taps and speed taps. She does come with late surge straightaways, and that's pretty much it. Her problem is long F. Long F means you can only get to long B, which means you need either at least 1, if not 2. I think she's strong enough at A with a fast learner proc, where you get the discount in a lot of skills. She's strong enough at A with that just because Moving Past and Beyond as the base just is that good. Okay? If you do happen to get an S with Moving Past and Beyond, that is incredible. The reason why I'm actually suggesting building this character, even though her long affinity is actually that bad and requires 10 sparks and to get lucky twice, is that even if you only proc A, you are giving yourself the chance of getting long parents. And honestly, that is really the true boon you're going to get out of this CM that's going to last longer than just this champions meeting, is the fact that having a very good Measure Adobo long parent is going to make all of your other characters that you're trying to build so much easier. So if you own this character, I would try, at least in these early attempts while you still have like 2 weeks to get here, try to spend a week, like try at least a couple days of this week to try to like get some good borrows with her, get her up to B long. If it procs 0 times, you can still get her as a turf parent, but if it procs once, you can get long A and you have the chance of getting like a 2-2 or a 2-3 long parent with 2 longs behind for like a long 7 parent. And if you get the god roll and you get 2 long sparks, well, you just get long S and you're off to the races at that point. So treat it more of like a parent building where you're trying to get her as a parent, and if it hits an ace, well, that's kind of like a bonus. So that's how I kind of go and cope with my Measure Adobe runs. But just in the room matches, even at long A, the fast learner one that I have is just, it's keeping up with my gold ship, which is also fast learner and long S. Just Moving Past and Beyond as a basic version, because it's 4 seconds and twice as long, it's just simply that good. Okay? Easiest character, and also a little bias to your winning ticket, is just still the easiest late searcher in the entire game to build. This character is so just ridiculously like it takes you 2 runs to build this character and get a viable one. Is she the best character? Well, her ultimate's incredibly finicky. That's her problem. Ticket to Win requires you to be side blocked. What's what they call a challenge, a side block on the final corner. If it does proc, man, Ticket to Win is a stronger Triumphant Pulse. Okay? She also comes with every late surger skill in the game just through random events, as well as Fast and Furious, Firm Conditions, and if you want to gamble, Hard Worker. But again, I think with Winning Ticket, because she gives literally every single late surger skill in the game, as well as having 20% power, 10% stam, you pretty much just want to put speed sparks on her, run a wit speed deck, and freaking like just go. The character builds itself. Like it's just character is very good. I will keep pushing Winning Ticket pretty much every single late searcher video. This character is insane. We haven't even hit the 2nd year anniversary buff where they make her ultimate proccable early, which even makes it speed carryover. But even now, it's still a very good late race skill. Incredibly easy to build. The easiest one on this list to build. Symbolaria Rudolph's here because her ultimate is very good. You pass 3, you're going to be passing a lot of people with the late surgers. If it procs, it is a very good, it's a Triumphant Pulse pretty much. She also comes with Pro Curve, and she comes with Be Still, which is not the best innate recovery, but it is an innate recovery on a late surger. It can proc late is the only problem, so it can mess with your spur rate. Her difficulty is that 20 stam, 10 guts is not ideal, but you can run a power build on her and be pretty good. Grass Wonder Fantasy, I would put this one here. Grass Wonder Regular, people kind of know that one. The reason why she's good is on your left. I think she's not as strong this time because, well, you can get on your left from Nice Nature. So I think her advantage there is a little bit diminished. But Grass Wonder Fantasy is interesting in my opinion because she comes with 3 innate recoveries. Relax is by far the worst one of the 3. But she comes with cooldown and Superior Heal. And Superior Heal is a little finicky on its own, but you can gamble with it. And I think that you will have, let's just say, there's going to be gold chips with Umastan passing you. And they will pass you in the mid-race, and then you'll have to fight it back when you're fighting against Anchors Away. So I think Superior Heal is a lot more reliable than people think. 15% whip bonus, 15% stamina bonus is pretty ideal, honestly, for a speed, stamina, wit deck. And she does come with 1.5 mil CC. So you can run her regular. You can try to Guts Max her because of the innate heal. It's pretty difficult, but it exists. Special Week Summer, I think, is a very, very easy character to build. She comes, again, just like Winning Ticket, she comes with a ton of very good late surger skills, and it comes with an innate recovery. And this innate recovery, because of how much the end closers exist, pretty much, you'll be in the mid pack pretty much all of the mid race. So Dazzling Diver will probably proc. She also comes with Tail Held High, which is pretty unique for late surgers. And Fast and Furious is one of the best mid-race skills in the game. Its on is very good if you pass a single person at combos. Corner of Depths, which will help with your pro curve. Slick Surge is built into the kit in the event. Homestretch Haste is decent. Sunny Days is decent. Fighter is luxury. Only problem with her, again, 10, 10, 10. Having some guts bonus is not the greatest thing in the world, but honestly, enough skills kind of builds itself. Innate recovery. Original Oguri Cap is a little difficult to build, honestly, this time. Mostly because it doesn't really give you anything for late surgers this time. Nimble Navigator is pretty much the only skill that's pretty much useful with her this time. 20% speed, though. So, Oguri Cap, still very good. Probably best to force her end closer, because if you're going to go through the trouble of building your late surger, and because you still need Slick Surge, mainly, you might as well be searching for straightaway Spurt instead of Slick Surge. So, kind of 50-50 on which way to go. This is kind of more just a lead into Oguri Cap Christmas, which is, I think, a difficult character to build in general still. But she is just very strong. She's probably stronger as an end closer. She's also harder to build as an end closer because you're having to get after school stroll. You have some options in late surgery that are pretty easy to get. Corner recovery, you will have corner recovery pretty much every run. There's 4 cards that get it. And you should be probably running Super Creek on her anyways, and Kittison. But Kittison, King Halo for Umastan, King Halo on speed. You can get her from, like I said, from Kittison, Super Creek. The other options, Be Still, you can get from the Zeno Rob Roy card. If you are running the meta Oguri Cap Christmas, you probably are able to borrow the Zeno Rob Roy card for Lion Weights. And then Dazzle and Diver, you can inherit from a Special Week parent. And then, of course, your trigger condition is 777. So the reason why the other late surger ones are not on this list is because they proc in the late race. So technically, if you don't have any of these and your third one is the Relax, it's Relax is the other one. Relax can happen anytime in the late race, so you're kind of gambling and you just kind of made yourself a bad version of Slick Surge. So if you're going to do it, I would definitely get 3 of these 4 and go from there. The strength of Oguri Cap is not her ultimate this time, honestly, because her ultimate is about 100 meters late, which is it's the 5th best timing possible, because you have straightaway spurt timing 33 meters for Let's Pump Some Iron, and then 2 more 33 meters for this one. The strength of it is that you can combo this Festive Miracle, so this Festive Miracle will always happen as long as you trigger it properly. But the strength of it is she has 15% speed, 15% stamina, which is absolutely ridiculous. This is just by far, you just put wit and speed on her, like wit plus speed, and then it's just enough with stamina sparks and a super creek. She also comes with Inside Scoop as a bonus, probably the best late race skill in the game right now, and late race speed skill, I should mention. And like I said, the strength of it is not that you have the Festive Miracle. You have Festive Miracle, and then you're also going to have Pump Some Iron and From Beyond. Like, it's you're going to have 3 acceleration skills. If 2 of them proc, you're basically going to be a Measure Orion that also has an additional guaranteed like acceleration that doesn't require positioning. That's really what's busted about her. You're going to want 800 to 900 wit on her, because 800 to 900 wit is 93%, which means that to hit 3, it's going to be 70% of the time. It works every time. If you go down to like 700 wit, you're going to have 800. You're going to have like an 85% chance of proccing it. You do that 3 times, and you're only working about half the time, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to sacrifice stamina. You're going to go down to about 700 stamina. You're going to go and run another wit card and get up to 900 wit instead. So you're going to lose 1 speed bonus. You're going to gain a whole bunch of wit. So why did I mention only the white recoveries? Well, in my opinion, I don't think you need to overstam this race, because you are not going to see as many different things that will be debuffing you. First of all, as late surges, if you're rushed, you're not hitting Measure Odober's ult, so you're kind of just screwed anyways, and you're only really going for Ryan ult at that time. So if you want to going to the all-in strategy generally of late surgers, a lot of times you just 12% you're going to get rushed. That's going to be just troublesome anyways. This is not a medium race, so you're not going to see as many nice natures, okay? 901 stamina, as we mentioned in the first video, the late surgers having the lowest amount of stamina, even at no recoveries, 838 is the base stamina requirement. You generally add 50 to 100 for that. So 938, you can imagine, is 0. 881 with a singular white. A singular white is usually going to be enough to get you through the race, just unless you get rushed and are debuffed at the same time. If you're seeing a ton of debuffs, you can get the gold recovery. I would not go much more than that. Gold recovery is already an entire debuff like load plus a rushed proc at the same time. Now, notably, and this is going to happen quite frequently because of the blue sparks, you're going to have the option to get 2 whites instead of a gold recovery. 2 things that are advantageous for this is, in my opinion, is 1, a lot of times you're going to get a lot of free corner recovery sparks. Secondly, you're going to get usually a lot of free sparks on, I'd say, straightaway recovery or just lion weight, for example. If you do the math with the skill points, you're usually going to save about 100 skill points getting 2 whites over a gold recovery. Now, 2 whites is 0.3 and a gold recovery is 0.55, but like I said, a 0.55 is not necessarily required all the time. In addition, when you have 2 white skills, if you have 2 white skills, which is usually this threshold, if you're not rushed and debuffed at the same time, a lot of times, like I said, 1 white's good enough. So you need 1 white skill to proc out of your 2 whites. You can either gamble it all on having your gold recovery proc, or you can gamble it on one right recovery procking out of two, because this is a low wit CM. This is a long CM. You're going to usually have between 500 and 600 of wit. More is great. That's probably the best stat to pump after you like get your other stats. You still have a 75% chance to actually proc your gold recovery. So 1 out of every 4 times you're going to get gold recovery screwed. And if if your gold recovery doesn't proc and you get rushed, you're dead. If you have 2 white skills, the odds of losing the 1 in 4 twice is much less than just losing a singular 1 in 4. And I think that the additional odds you get from these 2 white skills and having 1 proc is much more common than the odds of you getting like double nice natured plus Manhattan Cafe'd. I think that's pretty unrealistic. If you get it in finals, well, lucky for you. Sometimes you roll low in wit, just like my last CM, and you just get behind all the debuffers. They proc their stuff, and then you roll high wit and you go forward. That's what you're going for. So I think 2 white recoveries, if they are cheaper than the gold recovery, usually is the way to go for late surges, just because they have that good of just that amount of efficient stamina. In conclusion, like I said, and this goes for every single late surger video from now probably till the end of time, late surgers win by triggering your accels at good timing. So that's 6th and 5th position for Let's Pump Some Iron and from beyond. And more accels means you have more consistency. So like I said, if you want to be gambly, you go 2 accels. If you want to be consistent, you go 3+ accels. But then again, the better thing to do as well, once you have about 3 accels, is go and you want to leverage your late race skills to hold on against those end closers and use high wit plus your mid race skills to fight for position. You're going to want to use your wit to carry you through the mid game and use late race skills to carry you through the end game. So late surgers, very fun to watch, very easy to build. I've given a couple examples here. I may go back through and go through every single character, how to build them as a late surger. But for now, this has been Burb. This has been our late surger guide for Sagittarius Cup. The end closer guide is to come. That is probably the strongest strategy. But again, I think they are quite difficult to build. All right. So everyone, good luck with their CM. Hope to see you next time. This has been Burb. Burb out.